So I'm actually going to put a disclaimer on this video because I love and respect a lot of people who are not very comfortable with the F word. But this video, in fact, is going to have many F-bombs. And I realize that's not for everyone. So if you fall into that category, no judgment. I am going to give you a moment to step out of the room. Okay, and for those of you that are still here, we are going to talk about the science, maybe more of the art of having no more fucks to give. So I had suspected for some time that I had no more fucks to give, but I had a moment not too long ago where it was actually confirmed, and I hadn't given a whole lot of thought, but it hit me that they were gone. There were no more of fucks to give of any kind. I'm growing my hair back out, and it's in that really horrible, annoying stage, and I don't really give a fuck about it. It's just irritating. And I had read that if you put castor oil in your hair, it grows like 3 times faster. And it was on the internet, so I believe it. Got my castor oil in my hair, and it's starting to get later in the day, and it's actually starting to cool off a little bit. It went from like a sweltering 105 degrees to more of like a, you know, balmy 97. Humid as all get out. So I just go out with castor oil in my hair without any of my fucks to give. I had on some shorts that are really faded and have holes in them, and they don't really fit me too well right now because the shorts that I had on weren't flattering. So castor oil in my hair, you know, and it's hot, so I'm like, you know, I got my sleeves, a headband on, so the castor oil doesn't drip into my eyes. I leave my house like that. I'm 35 freaking years old, and I know the rules. The worse you look, the more likely it is you're going to run into somebody that you know. And who the hell am I to say I am bigger than the laws of nature? So you've got the picture, right? I've got it. And I see up the road this vehicle that looks kind of familiar. And as it gets closer, it's looking more and more familiar. Ah, fuck. No. No. Shit. Before I have time to give it too much thought, something hits my nose, like pollen or something just gets like sucked up in there. So at the same time as I'm like, you know, they drive by, pollen hits me, and I just like start sneezing my head off. And there was a brief moment, just brief, where out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw a fuck to give run by and scared the living piss out of me. Whew. I realized that fuck to give wasn't mine. It didn't belong to me. Holy moly, I don't have any more fucks to give. For real. Here's where I think people get a little confused, because in like having no fucks to give has kind of a negative connotation. We hear it in a context where people are usually angry, where they're like, I have no more fucks to give. And if it's coming from a place of like bitterness or resentment, you better believe that that person has like so many fucks to give, boatloads of fucks to give. Reality is, you know, when you genuinely have no more of those, you've cleared out all this space in your life for like actual compassion and love for yourself and for the things and people in your life that really matter. And so you probably don't even realize that you don't have any more fucks to give because you're just too busy being happy. Not very many people have that like moment of clarity like I did. I mean, it was like, you know, it was a gift. Bright side. Here's some truth. It is not your job to be a pretty girl. It's not your job to get people to like you. It's your only job to like yourself. You have one job. Don't fuck it up. Seriously, I think a lot of times when people have fucks to give, it's usually like in regards to other people. If you're not thinking about that crap, then you just don't have any. If you do, don't be really hard on yourself. I did it one time also. I'm 35 years old. There have been periods of time in my life I have had way more fucks to give than I could have possibly carried on my own. I was really good at actually kind of giving them to other people sometimes. You know, it's kind of how that works. Let me give you an example. So I had met this person. Stories of mine always have such good endings and morals. And he would say things kind of like, you know, I usually like women that have long hair. He was an endurance athlete, so he would say things like, I always thought I would date someone who was also a runner. And I was like, looking around, like, I think you have me mistaken for somebody who has fucks to give. I would say things like, oh, then you should go do that. Hell, if you're gonna be in town next weekend, I'll help you find her. They were really confused because they were really used to being around people that had like all kinds of fucks to give. Had I not been such an idiot and paying attention, those little things would have, you know, I would have been like, pfft. Actually one day where he was like, you know, I think the reason I don't compliment you as much as I should is because I'm afraid that you'll just think that you're too good for me and leave. Why does everyone keep shouting red flag at me? What are you, where? Would you believe that I spent a billable hour in my therapist's office sorting that one out before I dumped that guy? Oh my lord. If you're like me, you'll be like, oh, hey, excuse me, wait, I think you dropped something. Is this yours? It looks like a fuck to get. Oh, you don't want it? Oh, I don't want to litter. I'll put it in my pocket. That fuck to give that you're carrying looks really heavy. Let me help you. Oh, for me? Well, that's just a little fuck to give, so I guess I can. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Before I know it, I have like a gigantic tub of fucks to give. These didn't belong to me a little while ago. One day I looked at it and I just went whoosh. Whoa, those aren't mine, I don't want that. And I just dumped them. In my early 20s, I really liked the like writing shit down and like burning it method. I recommend it as far as like a therapeutic means of not having fucks to give. It doesn't actually get rid of them. Sometimes in some ways I think it gives you more. Everyone's journey to having no more fucks to give is a personal one, and what works for me might just not work for you. I can tell you what I've discovered just from personal experience when I step back and look at it after the fact, after all the fucks are gone. Because when you're in the middle of it, if you say you have no more fucks to give, like I said, it's going to be more like, well, I have no more fucks to give, and you are so lying to yourself. Go just feel all the fucks that you have to give. What you should start doing is being around people that set really healthy, good examples of having no more fucks to give, and you will recognize them. They're generally kind of pleasant to be around, and they never ever ever say the words, well, I have no more fucks to give, because they're so busy not giving any that they don't think about it. The other piece of advice I would have, other than, you know, like not being around assholes, is kind of prioritizing your life. When you have fucks to give, it's usually about the like lower echelon like shit down here, and so if you just like focus on the priorities that are up here, like they just kind of by default go away. And when you start you know, caring about things that matter and liking yourself, all of a sudden they're gone. It's gorgeous. Here's how it happened for me. I was starting to like I said, like pick up other people's fucks to give, and so little things were getting into my head. Kind of like really negative body image bullshit that I hadn't dealt with. Ooh, was that a Freudian slip? An experience since I was like 16, 17 years old. And I think partially because I was around somebody who they gave a lot of those fucks, and I remember one time he said something like, yeah, I can tell like when I'm not training and I'm starting to put on too much weight when I have a belly button. Not having a navel, that's a thing? Oh. And I was smoking at the time. I talked before about like the correlation between like shame and addiction, and so I was getting all this shame, which is like further driving my addiction. And then I also was in this place where I was also like becoming really terrified and paranoid of gaining weight. And guess what happens when you quit smoking? Like, so I was like, okay, shame from smoking, like thrown this way, but then like terror of gaining any weight. And it was like, rock, hard place, ah, like I just snapped. Woo, hold the phone. And I just immediately dropped like 180 pounds. Like that. And I felt great. And then I realized that maybe dating's not for me. I started feeling really good about myself again, and then so I gave up that and dating in general, and then I gave up smoking. That was probably almost 4 months ago now. And then that felt really good. And then I heard about the whole keto thing, and I gave up carbs and sugar. I haven't given up coffee. I'm not crazy. And then all of a sudden one day it hit me, I'd also given up having fucks to give. I've never been better. It's a lot to do with like positive body image, which is a soapbox so high for me. If I go there completely, I'm gonna need a spotter. Here's an example. A friend came over. I said, wow, you look good. Have you lost weight? I said, I don't know. Because I didn't believe in the demon machine of unhappiness that tells you how much you weigh. And I thought after they left, like, well, I do actually feel pretty good, and these jeans look awfully nice on me. Maybe I have lost weight. So I stepped on the demon machine of unhappiness, and I had actually gained weight. And I instantly went from feeling like, yeah, I look pretty good in these jeans to, and then it hit me, that is ridiculous, Morgan. When I started, you know, this whole like keto thing, and I kind of started to get all like into like the weight loss of it all. Totally wasn't the point of me doing it. There was one woman who had posted this picture on Instagram, and she said something along the lines of, you know, you ever had that moment where you're feeling really fit and then you step on the scale and you're heavier? Like, you know, yeah, I've had that moment. It's some bullshit, isn't it? And she was like, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to like cut more carbs. Or that's not the moral of that story. You just have all the wrong fucks to give. Having genuine care and compassion for yourself and for your health and for the people that you love in your life, those aren't fucks to give. Like, that's just genuine care and compassion. The other stuff that's like all that negativity, that's just get rid of that. Those are fucks that you don't need to give. That's it. I actually really need to go wash my hair. We can talk about this another time. I want you to go out there, and I want you to go be the badass that you are. And when you start to do that, congratulations, you're gonna wake up one day and realize that you too have absolutely zero fucks to give, and it's gonna be awesome. You can share your story with me, because I'd love to hear it. So that's it. You guys have a good one, and